All right, folks, let's talk about what just went down. Donald Trump is once again threatening to send troops and ICE agents into Chicago. And Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, he's not having it. He said this.
I'm going to do my best to share what we know as of today and speak frankly to the people of Illinois. Rumors have been swirling about what the White House has planned, and sifting fact from fiction has been increasingly difficult because Donald Trump's administration is not working in coordination with the city of Chicago, Cook County, or the state of Illinois. I want to take a moment at the top of my remarks to note how truly extraordinary it is for the federal government to refuse to coordinate with local law enforcement and government. Our state police regularly works with the FBI, the ATF, the DEA to go after gangs and gun runners and drug cartels. Under previous White House administrations, we regularly received notice and worked together on crime-fighting operations. This city has hosted major political conventions, flashpoint events like the NATO conference, and huge sports and entertainment gatherings over the years and across many presidential administrations. All those events required significant coordination between all levels of government. Some, like the Democratic National Convention last year, even required a limited deployment of the Illinois National Guard for broad security purposes, including especially preventing terrorism. So in the absence of significant federal coordination, we've gathered information from unauthorized patriotic officials inside the government and from well-sourced reporters about Donald Trump's plan, which is to deploy armed military personnel to the streets of Chicago. I'm aware that the President of the United States likes to go on television and beg me to call and ask him for troops. I find this extraordinarily strange, as Chicago does not want troops on our streets. I also have experience asking the president for assistance, just to have the rug pulled out from underneath me when execution meets reality. I refuse to play a reality game show with Donald Trump.
That line? That's everything. Because Trump doesn't want to govern, he wants to stage a show. He wants to turn Chicago into his backdrop, a reality TV set where he gets to play Commander Tough Guy. And Pritzker, like a lot of us, is saying no more. Let's start with Trump, because this is his playbook, right? He doesn't see communities, he sees ratings. Every time he talks about Chicago, it's the same script. Chaos, carnage, troops marching in to clean things up.
A brewing showdown between President Trump and the city of Chicago over his plans to send National Guard troops and ramp up ICE enforcement in the city. Today, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order to prepare the city in the event of a militarized immigration crackdown.
We have not called for this. Our people have not asked for this. But nevertheless, we find ourselves having to respond to this. And we find ourselves in a position where we must take immediate, drastic action to protect our people from federal overreach. Protecting Chicago will ensure that every Chicagoan knows their rights, that every single family is prepared, and every part of city government is directed to protect the people of Chicago from federal action. This sweeping executive order directs our Department of Law to pursue any and every legal mechanism to hold this administration accountable for violating the rights of Chicagoans. This order affirms that the Chicago Police Department will not collaborate with military personnel on police patrols or civil immigration enforcement. We will not have our police officers, who are working hard every single day to drive down crime, deputized to do traffic stops and checkpoints for the president.
There it is, same old fear-mongering. Trump made his career on The Apprentice pretending to fire people. Now he's treating America like another season of that show. Except this time, the set is real cities. The contestants are real people. And the stakes? They're our democracy. So when Pritzker says he refuses to play a reality game show with Trump, he's not being cute. He's telling the truth. Here's what Trump doesn't want you to know. He can't just do this. The law is very clear. Governors control their National Guard. The president can't just march soldiers into a city because he feels like it. The Constitution, the Posse Comitatus Act, these exist for a reason. They're supposed to stop exactly this kind of abuse of power. And Pritzker made it clear, if Trump tries to force this on Illinois, they'll fight it in court. See that? That's not just political talk. That's a governor drawing a line in the sand. Because if Trump can send troops into Chicago without consent, what's to stop him from doing it in New York tomorrow, or any city that doesn't vote for him? This isn't just about Chicago. This is about the guardrails of democracy. Now let's talk about who's actually living with the consequences here. Chicago is home to millions of working people, vibrant immigrant communities, Black and Latino neighborhoods, people who already deal with enough stress, crime, poverty, trying to build a better future. And Trump? Instead of addressing schools, jobs, housing, he wants to drop ICE raids and military patrols into their lives.
There are good days and bad, Mari Rodriguez says. But she's grateful for every day she works, selling tamales to the Pilsen community. She migrated from Venezuela and has been in Chicago just a year. Mari admits she's fearful about what might happen Tuesday if Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers arrive in Chicago as promised by President-elect Trump's border czar.
And we're going to start right here in Chicago, Illinois.
This community has been the subject of attacks and immigration raids going back to the 1960s. The current threats are nothing new.
Look at that. Parents afraid to send kids to school. Families worried about celebrating cultural festivals under the shadow of soldiers. Mexican Independence Day, for example, usually a huge celebration in Chicago. Now people are scared that showing up could mean running into ICE. And it's all for one reason. Donald Trump thinks chaos helps him politically. Make no mistake. This is strategy. Trump paints Democratic cities as hellholes, so he can say only he can fix them.
And as soon as they did that, we straightened that mess out. They should have been able to do it locally with their police. Their police are good. They were told not to do anything. Or many other cases, we're doing a great job in Portland. Portland was very rough, and they called us in, and we did a good job, to put it mildly. Many people in jail right now. But we have other cities that are out of control. They're like war zones. And if the city isn't going to straighten it out, if local politicians, all in this case, I don't say this for political reasons, they're all Democrats. They're liberal, left-wing Democrats. And it's almost like they think this is going to be this way forever. Where in Chicago, 68 people were shot and 18 died last week. We're not going to put up with that.
Step 1, exaggerate the crisis. Step 2, send in force. Step 3, pose as the savior. But here's the reality. Deploying troops doesn't solve crime. Investing in communities does, strong schools do, good jobs do, real public safety strategies do. But Trump doesn't care about solutions. He cares about the show. And here's where it gets even bigger. Pritzker's pushback is resonating because it shows what real opposition to Trump looks like. Standing up, not backing down, calling out the show for what it is.
Again, this is not about crime. More and more reports around these raids include people who were stopped or detained because of how they look, and not because of any threat to the public. If any of this was about dealing with the complexities of a broken immigration system, then Trump would have had the Congress Trump Republicans control write and pass a comprehensive immigration bill. Not only has that not happened, there is no talk of any such effort on the horizon. I know how Donald Trump thinks because I've been governor during both of his terms. He has surrounded himself with groveling yes men who are too weak to restrain his most violent and unhinged impulses, or who share those impulses. As a governor who cares about the well-being of my people, I can't live in a fantasy land where I pretend Trump is not tearing this country apart for personal greed and power. I have to deal in facts, and here they are. Crime is down in Chicago. Murders are down by almost 50% in the last 4 years. Shootings are down 57%. Robberies down 34%. Burglaries down 21%. Motor vehicle thefts down 26%. One violent crime is too many, and we have more work to do. But we have made important progress on safety that Trump is now jeopardizing.
This isn't just one man. It's a coalition of Democratic governors standing up for democracy. Because if we normalize this kind of military theater, we're done. Trump wants the headline, "Strongman saves Chicago." But the truth is, it's a fraud. It's manipulation, and it's why 2025 feels less like politics and more like a stress test for democracy.